Hi guys, I just wanted to show you what's going on in my backyard. I decided to pull all of the tomato plants out of the raised bed garden because the soil was getting really depleted. And as I was pulling them, I realized that some of them had blossoms on them. So I decided to keep these three. I decided to keep these three plants and see what happens. And they started producing tomatoes, so I'm gonna leave them here for a while and see. As you can see, they have little tomatoes, so I want to see if they're gonna ripen because these are very good tomatoes. But unfortunately, by the end of December, early January, I'm gonna have to pull them out so I can redo the soil and get it ready for my new tomato plants in February. And this jalapeno pepper over here, I'm gonna leave it as well because it has, I don't know, like 4 or 5 peppers, so I'm gonna let them grow, and then I'm actually gonna try to move it into another space. I'll be careful, hopefully I succeed, because this is the second time this plant is producing. And these are my rosemary plants, which unfortunately, fortunately they're doing great. Unfortunately I cannot use because we had service spraying for weeds. I left the backyard door unlocked, they walked in and they sprayed them, and I can no longer eat them. And these are my jalapeno peppers that I started from seed back in, I believe January or February, and then I put them in this container, I believe in March. And this is the second time they're producing, so I'm just gonna keep them as long as they're producing. They do have a little bud starting again, so they're good to stay for a while. And these are my pepper plants. Some of them are sweet California orange, some of them are red bell peppers. And again, with these guys, this is the second time they're producing. And actually, they almost died at the end of the summer in August and September. And then all of a sudden they started blossoming again. They're just covered in blossoms. And they're producing peppers. So the same thing, I'll keep them out here. I have a big plastic sheet prepared because in the next couple of nights it's gonna get cold, to cover them, as well as this tomato plant. This one I started from seed on September 7th, and then on September 20th the little seed sprouted, and today is November 19th, and this is how big the plant got, and it is covered in blossoms. And these are very good variety tomatoes as well, so hopefully I have tomatoes in a couple of months. And here you guys can see some more bell peppers. This plant is covered in peppers and blossoms as well, so hopefully the next couple, I think Monday and Tuesday, it's gonna get down to the low 40s. And I have the plastic sheet that I bought to cover them, so hopefully they survive. I may even bring them inside, they're not that heavy, so I can have peppers in December and January. And this is my parsley, and it is doing absolutely amazing this year. And it looks small because I keep clipping it because I eat parsley every day, so I actually went to the store today and bought some parsley so I can let this one grow for a while. But it's doing great. And this is a tomato plant that I started from a sucker a month and a half ago. It's doing pretty well. It has a couple of blossoms, so I'll wait and I'll see what happens. And this is my cherry tomato plant. I've never grown cherry tomatoes before, and I bought this from Home Depot 2 months ago, and I planted it, and it was a tiny little plant, had no blossoms, nothing. And I put in the soil the things that I normally put, you can find in a link up above, and now it's just covered with fruit, and it keeps producing and it keeps blossoming. I love it. Next year for sure I will plant more cherry tomatoes because clearly they're doing great here in Arizona. And I had a little problem with the tomato hornworm, so I had to spray it, and as you can see here in the bottom, I had to get rid of a lot of leaves because I didn't catch them in time. I do check on my plants every morning, but they did a lot of damage overnight. And here is another tomato variety that I was told that it does well in Arizona. It's called Early Grow. It's the first time I'm growing it, and as you can see, hardly any leaves left because of the tomato hornworms, but I sprayed it and it's doing well now. And up above I'm gonna put a link to the video of how I make my tomato hornworm spray. And this is my third attempt in 1 month to grow Swiss chard and kale, and I started them from seed right outside, and it's just not gonna work out because the quails keep eating it, and I end up with no Swiss chard and no kale and bunch of healthy quails running around. So I'm gonna start them from seed indoors, and then once they're decent size, I'm gonna transfer them outside. And these are my orange and grapefruit trees in a backyard and a side of the house that were already here when I moved in. And the grapefruits are absolutely delicious, and so are the oranges. And this spring they were covered in blossoms. However, in May it got really windy and I lost most of the blossoms. As you can see, I only have very few grapefruit. I would say I have about maybe 10 on this tree, versus last year I had probably over 50, maybe even close to 60 or 65 grapefruit, and they were absolutely delicious. And unfortunately I have a picture from last year. This is what the grapefruit looked on the inside, and yeah, not very many this year. And unfortunately the orange tree has no fruit at all the blossoms fell off the tree, so I'm just gonna have to wait until next year. Thank you for watching, guys. I will see you next week. Bye. Have a great Thanksgiving.